Tom's great. Hello, everyone. This is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for more than 3 years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm about to go into what we were shipping out today on Friday. I kind of have to go pretty quick. I went to sleep and I thought there was only like 7 or 8 items. There's actually 25, so I like slept in an extra 2 hours. So we are like really pushing it to the limits right here to get stuff dropped off. I don't know. I don't know if like it was overnight that all the stuff sold or if I just wasn't paying enough attention. All right. First up is going to be this Thomas the Tank Engine. This is just going to be like a children's toy. Like it's a container. They'll probably put like their little cars and stuff in there. Children love Thomas the Tank Engine. I was into it when I was a kid, so this is still kind of like a popular IP. This time I'm going for $8.39 plus shipping. Everything is going to be plus shipping. All right. Next up is to repeat buyer. They got some battle honors right here. These are Napoleonic metal miniatures. I've sold these packets before for various prices. The little label up here is 25, A23. I don't think I figured out what exact infantry these were, but I still will list it, and I'll still just put as much identifiers as I can see. This end I'm going for $17. People like the Napoleonic miniatures. I've always been selling them well. All right. Moving along, we have Warhammer 40K and fantasy bits and pieces. I got this huge bin of bits and pieces. I think I spent like 90 bucks for it. And then I made over 150 different lots. I'll lay them all out and let people see what parts and pieces they get. People like to kit bash and mix and match pieces. Some of these, maybe they'll be able to make partial figures. I don't know. I could have done a better job individually selling the pieces or maybe putting the similar like type pieces together. But I did that for some of them. And then a bunch of other ones I just made lots. So people are finding, treasures in them. This time I'm going for $15.74. All right. Moving along, it's like a wooden ornament. It kind of probably needs a new little hanger right here, but this is like a painted, well painted. It's like a wood. It's like an angel right there. So really cool ornaments. We got this like bag of ornaments a long time ago at like a state sale or something. I'd gone through it a year ago, and then anytime I go to the bag, I'm like, oh yeah, that's when I listed all the little ornaments and the little like Christmas decorations and stuff. $10.50 for this one. Even though it's past Christmas, people will still buy stuff year-round for that. I know a lot of people always ask that question, when do you list seasonal stuff? And today is always the answer. All right, next up is going to be HeroScape. This is a single die right here. This is for the old version of HeroScape, not by the, I think Renegade Game Studios has it now right now, but this is also a dice from one of the Hero packets, so they would come with like some special dice. HeroScape is just a thing where they have you play on these hex tile maps that you actually build, almost kind of like Legos, where you build it up. And a lot of people, I sell the tiles all the time, and then you have these figures with stats, and you roll dice and do combats and stuff. There's a lot of cool HeroScape collections that people have. Just one die, $4.99 for that. I just had one loose die. All right. Next up, more Napoleonics. These are French Dragoons right here. This box is actually complete. It was like open, but still new box. It has 12 of these Cavalry Dragoons right here. But yeah, like I said, I always do well with the Napoleonics. People like that historical era. $13.99 for this one. Sorry, I have to go pretty quick. All right, next up is Babylon 5. This is going to be a first edition starter set for a dead card game. I've gotten this stuff before. I actually think I have a box in one of our cars of like, I got like a $5 collection or something. I don't think it sells for too much. I think this was this by Decipher? No, it says Warner Bros. But yeah, I think this is based off of a TV show and some movies. I've never watched any of this sci-fi like series, so I don't know too much about it. But obviously there's a bunch of sci-fi series that people like, Star Wars, Star Trek. They like the Battlestar Galactica. There's other ones as well. So I know people like them. But yeah, $7.87. This is going eBay international shipping. So maybe someone couldn't get the dead card game there. All right, next up is going to be some Gold Series audio cables right here. People are always looking for specific brands or specific types of cables to make sure that their electronics work. Not like a usual thing that we pick up and sell, but I don't even know where we got this one from. Maybe Annetta grabbed it a long time ago. She's usually good at knowing like which ones are like the rare ones and the ones that sell for better. But yeah, this end I'm going for $11 right here. It's still like new in its package. All right, moving along. I don't know too much about this other than it sold for like a good amount of, this is Chris Ware. This American Life, like a secret radio decoder. I think it's off of a radio show in Chicago. I don't know too much about it. I never really listened to any radio shows, but I think you would listen into the radio show and then you would use this decoder to decode stuff or something. So for some reason, this is super rare. I remember it was just laying around us, or like around my unlisted stuff. I picked it up. I always like to do the ephemera and stuff, but I like to pace it out between other things. And I was like, oh wow, this had a couple, I think 1 or 2 other listings that were pretty high. But yeah, this ended up going for $80 for this. So maybe just because it has like a historical context for the radio show in Chicago, or maybe it's actually useful. This is the one way like you can decode some of their shows or something. All right, that's all I know about that one. but it's cool paper ephemera and little gadgets like that, and collectibles can sell for lots. All right. Next up is going to be a bunch of these baggies. I put them in 5 baggies. This was going to be like children's like wooden blocks for cars and trains. It's like these that connect together. There was also a bunch of like, you know, there's like a cow, there's some animals, there's some street signs. So it's like 5 baggies of these types of children toy. I got this, or I think I grabbed this a long time ago at the thrift store. It took me a while to list it because it takes up a lot of space. So now I have a bin to list into. There's some train cars here as well. So basically just this big lot of wooden blocks and little toys for someone. $19.84. Most of that is the shipping because it's a good amount of weight. All right. Moving along is Skylanders, 18 of these giant cards. These are going to be foil ones. I know the Skylanders is that video game where you like hook up the little figures and then I think you put them on like a portal and they go into the game. I'm not too sure how the cards work or if they're relevant to the video game. It doesn't look like they have any stats or anything, so it doesn't look like you can play the game like Pokemon, but I'll occasionally get a couple of these Skylanders things. But yeah, Skylander stuff people like, as well as the, I think it's like the Disney Infinity and all those figures. People do like them and use them. $8.50 for this pack of 18 cards. All right, moving along, we have a small little container of 15. They're acrylic pieces for War Machine. These are for the Signar faction. The previous owner just like taped on Signar, and they used the blue faction because the Signar faction is supposed to be blue. I think they're supposed to be like the British steampunk robots and stuff like that. But yeah, there's some of these acrylic little tokens. You've seen me sell baggies of these tokens before where these are official ones where they denote like different status effects or command tokens to show who's taking turns and maybe like area of effect or like poison, all those like different conditions. So yeah, little container of this, $11.54 for this. I always do well with selling the War Machine and Hordes tokens. All right, moving along, I put this as is and incomplete, so I'm not sure if it works or how the condition of the discs are. Final Fantasy VII, pretty classic. This is for the PC, but I think it was missing one of the 3 discs, so that's like the incomplete. And also, some reason it's like, it's missing the box and it was in this like weird like little folder thing. So that's just how I listed it. I actually played Final Fantasy VII as a kid a lot, and that was a pretty good one, iconic. I know there's other Final Fantasies that people like, but I remember playing a bunch of this one. But yeah, $7 for this. All right, next up is going to be Pokemon Go. This is going to be the Mewtwo, this box right here, Elite Trainer box. This is empty. It doesn't have the packs. Pokemon stuff has the packs. It'd be a lot more expensive. I'll still get them because parents will get these as gift wraps for their kids because then they can put their gift in there. The kid's going to keep the cards in here instead of on the floor, as well as people like to collect these and they're good storage for cards, like 500 to 700 cards and deck boxes, dice, and tokens. And they also look really nice. They have Pokemon, like this one has the Mewtwo on it. But yeah, $7.87 for that one. All right, moving along, we have a lot of 3 Alien vs. Predator comic books. Super cool. I loved Alien vs. Predators and then the original like Aliens and Predator movies. I liked them a lot. These are some comics. These are numbers 0, 2, and 3. I made a mistake though, and I messaged the customer. So the only mistake I made was my title was wrong. My title said it was 0, 2, and 4 for the comics because there's, I think, 4 in this series. And I messaged them. I was like, it was, the pictures were correct. So the pictures show that's 0, 2, and 3. And then everything else is correct except for just my title. So I messaged them and I haven't heard back from them yet. So I'm still going to ship it as is. I have returns on. So if there's an issue because of my mistake, I'll just eat the return cost. I mean, we paid the return shipping anyways, but I'm going to ship this out if I don't hear back from them. But really cool comic books. I don't get anything too crazy for comics. These are $7.34, but I get them relatively cheap when I get them from my comic buddy. All right. Next up is going to be 2 of these hex maps right here. These are going to be for the Star Trek, one of the role-playing game, I believe it is. Oh, Battleship Combat role-playing game. These are just, someone laminated them. There is a little bit of bubbling on it. I did mention that in the pictures and the titles in the description as well, so I hope they noticed that. These are still probably usable because someone laminated them. Normally, they're like a cheap, thin paper. You can tell in the back of like what kind of thin paper that they'll be. But yeah, people use hex maps to play games, RPGs, and all that stuff. $10.49 for those 2. All right, moving along, I got a bunch of these Star Wars Finest cards right here. This character is Mara Jade. I don't actually know what Star Wars character that is. So it's a foil card. I have to actually change my listings for these because I did not have them for eBay standard envelope. And I think it was because I put them in a Star Wars category. In the Star Wars category, like only certain things, usually the card categories, can you put the cards into the standard envelope. So I actually think I have to change all my Star Wars listings because I think they paid Ground Advantage for this, even though it's less than $20. But yeah, really cool foil card. A lot of people love Star Wars ones. I don't know this. I only watched the movies one time each. $6.99 for this particular character. I had another one, so I already relisted it. All right. Next up is going to be a record. I don't know anything about records. Got a couple hundred for free. They were going to be either tossed out, and then they knew that we did eBay, so I was like, okay, whatever. I can do it for free, 99. But this is Mike Nicholas and Elaine May right here. Don't know who they are, but yep, this is going to be a record. It's in good condition. It still has like the inserts and everything. So yeah, this ended up going for $5.24. So someone's going to appreciate it. They sent a message that they appreciated the good offer. So I'm glad they're going to listen to it and enjoy it, even though I don't know them. All right. Next up is the Tootsie Toy Lamborghini car right here. It's, oh, sorry, not Lamborghini, Ferrari. It's like a gold die-cast car by Tootsie Toy right here. Get a bunch of these die-cast cars. I don't know too much about cars, but we do really well with selling like the little toys and stuff like that. Sometimes I'll do lots. Sometimes I'll just list the individual ones. This one went for $6.30 for that one. It's like a bigger one. It's not like the Matchbox size. It's a little bit bigger. It's like 4 inches. All right. Next up is going to be this vintage die. This is going to be, I believe it's a D10. This is like a red and black speckled die with gold pips. People care about, and it's 25 millimeters. People care about the color of the die. They care about the pip color, which is like those little dots on there. They care how they're denoted. This is actually by like circles is how they're denoted in this one. There's the 0 for the 10 part right there. But yeah, this ended up going for $11.75. So yeah, people will pick up and pay a good amount for good dice. That's also going to repeat buyer. All right, moving along, we have Lord of the Rings trading card game, Gandalf the Grey Pilgrim. This is going to be a rare card. This is from the Decipher Lord of the Rings card game. This stuff you usually have to pay a little bit more up at auctions to get. I think in this collection I paid for like 75, so I did pay a lot. The money has slowly been coming in. I had like decks, I had some packs, and then I had a bunch of singles. So I did lots with the commons and uncommons, and the rares and the foils I always list individually. This one went for $6.99. People love Lord of the Rings. It doesn't even have to be someone playing the card game. People just like Gandalf, you know. All right. Next up is going to be SPI 1977 Cobra Patents board game right here, but just the map. So I got a bunch of these maps. The wargaming maps are the little hex ones with the chit tokens. I've never played one of these types of games, but they look like a lot of fun because I like tactics games. So I can understand why people enjoy them. But yeah, this is just the map for one of the SPI board games. There's a lot of these war game board games. This time I'm going for $8, also to a repeat buyer. All right, moving along. We have this really cool vintage turtle. It's a planter, so you know, to put the dirt in and to grow some kind of plant. It's a turtle. Sorry, you can't really see it because I already have a pre-packaged. And then he has a bunch of little shoes on. So he's really cute. It's adorable. Good quality. Good like painting on it. But yeah, this ended up going, and it was labeled 1981 on the bottom. So I think maybe someone actually custom made this with clay or something. A lot of people make really cool crafts. This ended up going for $14 for this one. So I thought he looked good. People like specific animal types and turtles, frogs, you know, dragons. I know that's not an animal, but like there's categories where people always like. Fairy stuff is also really good. I know that's not also a real animal, but it is a good category. I've barely gotten it, but when I do, the stuff sells fast. All right. Next up is 30 of these dice right here. They're like a dark blue with white pips right there. So these must have gone with the game or something. I just got these as a baggie, as loose, but people use these. Probably there's a lot of war games where you need a bunch of dice, or Magic the Gathering. You use these as counters to denote, like if a creature has +2 power, +2 toughness, you put a 2 on it to denote that so everyone can visually see. But yeah, these end up going for $17.49. All right, moving along. Not something I normally sell. The buddy that sells me anime stuff, he had a couple of his anime figures in these Ultra Pro containers, which he was using to house his, you know, his collectible. It was like a big Nendoroid. But then these are also for basketball. So someone could get this for collecting, displaying either a like a statue, like a can't think of it, like a manga statue, anime statue. Brain's cooked right now, really short on time. Or actual basketball. It does have the official Ultra Pro label. This is a pain to ship. It's not like a glass. It is like a thick, like kind of plastic. So it's not like if this was glass, it'd be shattered. Maybe $28 for that one. So like people do have to pay for that. 28 plus the shipping. They paid a lot in shipping. All right. Last item for the day is going to be this Christmas thing for a mount, or like, yeah, I think like a mantle. Sorry, red and green mantle runner. So it's going to have the elf colors. So it's kind of like elf hats or something. So another Christmas thing selling right now. Like I said, you can sell seasonal stuff like this all year round. Has little bells on it, jingle bells. So yeah, someone just wants to put this on their mantle and they're maybe saving up for a party, or I don't know, maybe next year or coming up in 11 months. All right, $12.60 for that. Sorry for going super fast. We are really short on time. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hope everyone has a good weekend.